Today, the man who drove drunk into a crowded St. Louis Park restaurant patio learned his fate. A judge sentenced Stephen Bailey to the maximum of 30 years behind bars for the crash that killed 2 people and injured several more. Survivors and the victims' families faced Bailey in court today, telling him in heartbreaking detail how his actions altered their lives. Raya Katene has the story, but we want to warn you it includes newly released surveillance video that may be difficult to watch.
I will never heal.
In a Hennepin County courtroom,
I will never be the same.
the man who killed 2 people and severely injured others while driving drunk sat and listened to the words of his victims and their families.
I feel like a shell of a person trying to do what I think I'm supposed to be doing, feeling empty inside.
These are the words written by and spoken on behalf of Christina Folkert's father and stepmother, who write Christina's 3 daughters will now forever be without their mom.
Stephen Bailey took Christina's life and has also taken so many pieces of ours.
Last September, Stephen Bailey, whose blood alcohol content was more than 4 times the legal limit, drove his vehicle into the Park Tavern restaurant patio, killing Christina, who was working, and Gabe Harvey, who was out for a meal. Gabe's partner also spoke this afternoon but did not want to be on camera.
I remember laying on the ground and looking at my legs. They were broken and backwards.
Tegan D. Albany, a friend of Gabe's, was severely injured that evening and underwent several major surgeries, spent time in a wheelchair, and couldn't go home to her 2-year-old for more than 40 days.
I still struggle with understanding why I'm alive and others are not. I still struggle every time my son walks up to me and gently touches my leg and says, "Mama got hit by a car." Yep, Mama got hit by a car.
The judge sentenced Bailey to 30 years in prison, the maximum sentence allowed and one Christina's best friend says he deserves.
He doesn't deserve to get out of prison because we do not get our best friend back ever.
When asked if there's anything he wants to say, Bailey kept most of his words to himself, saying there's not much more he could say to ease the pain he's caused.
After today,
But the words of his victims
I'm gonna go to bed knowing that Mr. Bailey is in jail for several decades.
remained loud and clear.
And I woke up this morning feeling good about that.
Before this incident, Bailey had been convicted of drunk driving 5 different times, and a recently passed state law now requires anyone who's had 3 DWIs within the span of a decade to use what's called an ignition interlock device, basically a breathalyzer attached to their car before they can operate their vehicle. Julie.
I mean, I just can't imagine knowing, as one of the victims, family members, knowing he had 5 DWIs before this happened to your loved one. It's just devastating.
That was something that was brought up time and time again in the sentencing today, and we also heard from Christina's husband as well, who called it a senseless tragedy.
All right. Thank you, Raya.